What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and today we're going to discuss the pros and cons of living on the northern end of Myrtle Beach. I get people asking me over and over, Jeremy, please, can you do a pros and cons video on living in the northern section of the beach? I've done many in the past. I did one on Myrtle Beach, I did one on Conway, and I did one on Carolina Forest as well. If you want to check out and you're thinking about maybe those areas as well, I'll link to a playlist where you can check out those videos also. But today we're going to focus in on living in the northern end of the beach. We're talking North Myrtle Beach, Little River, Longs, that segment of the beach. And so today's video is going to discuss the pros and cons of living up there versus other parts of the beach or even just other parts of the country. So let's get started. The first thing on our list, and we're going to talk about the pros first, is the weather. The weather here in the northern end of the beach is absolutely amazing. We have great weather here year round. It doesn't matter whether you're looking for a place where you have a fall, a spring, summer, or what. We have all four seasons that take place here. We have a great springtime where everything starts to bloom. I call it the pollen season because pollen can get a little bit heavy during that time, but it's usually fairly short, and then we're into summer. Then we have summer that lasts for an extended period of time here with great weather. Now, one thing I will say about our weather here is that in the summertime, it gets hot. The humidity comes into play as well and makes it even more extreme. So for example, the other day I was out showing property. The thermostat said in my car that the temperature was like 88 degrees, but when I looked at my phone and pulled up what the feels like weather with humidity, it said it was over 101. So if you're a woman and you're into straightening your hair because you have frizzy hair, just know that with the high humidity we have, you're basically going to walk outside 10 minutes later and it's going to be right back. So during the summertime, you may not want to spend a lot of time doing that. But it is also amazing during our winter seasons. It's very mild, very simple. My youngest daughter, who's about to turn 9 years old, has basically seen snow in her life 3 times. The last time though she saw it was winter about 2.5 years ago, and I'll never forget it. My wife and I were sleeping in on a Saturday morning, and at about 7 a.m. she comes breaking through the doors. Mommy, Daddy, it snowed, it snowed, it snowed. And we're, huh, what? We get up and look out the window and the ground is covered in snow. We had about a 1/4 inch of snow that fell that day. So we got up, all our kids got dressed, we went outside, we bundled in our 18 layers because you know, you don't have winter clothes anymore down here. You don't need them. But so we had layer upon layer upon layer. Went outside, started to make snowballs, throwing them at each other, and we looked down the street and everyone on our streets out enjoying it, throwing snowballs, having a big time playing together. We played with our kids and with our neighbors for probably 20-30 minutes, came inside, shed the layers of clothing, made breakfast, and by the time we were cleaning up from breakfast, all of the snow that had fallen the night before was completely melted and gone. To me, that is the perfect snowstorm. We got to see it, we got to play in it, and we got to go on with our day. So if you're someone who doesn't want to deal with snow, you live in the Northeast, you might think about making the move down south because you don't have to deal with it anymore. So number 1 on our list is definitely our weather. The second thing on the list of pros of living on the northern end of the beach is definitely our shopping. We have all kinds of things that are up on the northern end of the beach. It used to be that everything was just down in Myrtle Beach. And if you stayed up on the northern end or on the southern end of the beach, you would have to get in your car and trek all the way down into the middle to do any of the activities or do any shopping or groceries or anything like that. Well, the northern end of the beach has definitely grown up over the last few years. We now have up there Lowe's, we have a Home Depot, there's a Kohl's, there's all kinds of other strip malls with great shopping things that you can go. There's Michael's, Home Goods. There's also my wife's favorite place, Hobby Lobby. Yeah. Can't get in there and out the door without spending a lot of money. But it's a great spot where people love to go also. There's also all types of restaurants to go eat and things to check out when it comes to shopping. You also then have Barefoot Landing, which is a great outdoor place to go walk around and shop. And also there is the Northern Tanger Outlets, which is up there as well, that you can go, and there's all types of outlet stores to go through and get good deals on good products. So when you're thinking about places to live, having shopping nearby is definitely something to take into account. And North Myrtle Beach definitely has that taken care of. The third pro on our list are the beaches. North Myrtle Beach has some gorgeous, beautiful beaches that are all throughout the area. There's a lot of places that you can go spread out, relax, and it has just this laid back lifestyle feel that takes place up on the northern end of the beach. When you get down into places like Myrtle Beach proper or down into Surfside or Garden City, it just always feels like those beaches are a little bit more hustle bustle and go, go, go type of feel, whereas the people that are usually going to the beach up on the northern end are kind of, let's just go relax, let's take it easy, let's have fun, and just have a nice relaxed atmosphere type of day. So if you're looking for beaches that are going to be a little bit more chill, you might want to think about the northern end of the beach. If you're looking for the ultimate chill beach, you might want to think about moving to a place called Briarcliff Acres. It's a great little neighborhood that's right on the cusp of the North Myrtle Beach border that has its own private beach. All the homes in there are going to have at least 1 acre of land. Now, because of these being custom estate style homes, they can get a little pricey, but it is an amazing neighborhood with its own private beach. That private beach has its own stretch of close to 3 miles of land where it's just for the maybe 300 homes that are in the development. So if you want a place where you can go relax on the beach, spread out, and have a lot of space to yourself, Briarcliff Acres might be the place for you. And like I mentioned, since it's a private beach, only your residents are going to be there. So it's a really nice spot to check out as well. Number 4 is the property taxes. The property taxes here in South Carolina are some of the lowest that you're going to find anywhere in the country. The last time I checked, we have the 6th lowest property taxes across the country. I talk to people all the time who are moving here from the Northeast, especially when I speak to those that are moving here from New Jersey or New York. I ask them how they're paying their property taxes and how much they pay per month. And they usually tell me a number and I say, okay, well, what you're paying per month in New York or New Jersey, you're going to pay down here for the entire year. Yeah, so you're paying maybe $1,200, $1,400, maybe $1,600 a month for taxes. Down here, you're going to pay that for an entire year once you make your home your primary residence. Now, as I've mentioned in the past, that primary residence thing is a very important thing to take into consideration, and make sure that once you purchase your home and close, that you take the time to fill out the proper paperwork. Wow, that was a lot of P's, wasn't it there? But it's important that you fill out everything you need to do with it. And also, just so you know, right now, Horry County is very backed up. It's taking 18 to 20 weeks to get everything processed. So you want to do this though, because if not, your taxes might be 3 times the amount. For example, on the house that my wife and I currently own, our property taxes on that house is right around about $1,500 a year. If we did not go fill out the paperwork and get it switched over to our primary residence, our property taxes would have been close to $4,500 a year on it. So it's important to do that and save the money. Now, the other part, as I've mentioned in the past too, you do pay taxes here on your vehicles, which a lot of states don't have that, some do. So if yours does, that's not a big deal. But for those of you coming from a state that doesn't, it is a big change. You pay that annually every year. But when you take the prices for what you're paying for your vehicles plus your home, put it together, it's still going to come out much better than what you're probably paying right now in whatever state you live. So property taxes is one of the biggest pros of living down here. And the 5th pro that we have on our list is just food and things to do. The northern end of the beach has grown up tremendously over the last 20 years, and there is just so many things to do throughout the area. Whether that's visiting Barefoot Landing and walking around all the shops and stores that are there, whether that's playing golf at one of the many golf courses that are up through the northern end of the beach. You have all of the courses that are at Barefoot. You have ones that are up on the northern end of the beach as well. There's so many different spots that you can go and golf, which if you're into that, hey, that's an awesome spot to check out also. There's also so many amazing local restaurants and even franchise restaurants that are throughout the area. As I mentioned before, you used to have to load up your car and drive all the way down to Myrtle Beach or south to get any type of good food. Well, now you have all types of awesome spots that are up on the northern end. If you're looking for pizza, I definitely recommend check out King's Pizza. It's a great little pizza shop. And if you're looking for good Italian, check out Benny Rappa's Trattoria. It is a great little Italian spot. There's so many other hidden gems that are throughout the area, including one of my wife and I's favorite places up in Little River, Clark's Seafood and Chop House. Awesome, amazing food. Go there, check out the filet Napoleon. It is Yummy. But there's so many great spots that are all throughout the area that you can go, have a good bite to eat, find things to do, that you don't have to travel 20 to 30 minutes anymore to get to the tourism stuff that Myrtle Beach has to offer. So those are just a few of the big pros of why you might want to consider living on the northern end of the beach. Now, let's talk about some of the cons that might make you think twice before making a move to this area. All right, so the first con that we're going to talk about, and it kind of goes along the same way as the first pro, and that is the weather. The extreme weather that we have here along the coast. Since we're a coastal town in the south, there is always possibilities that you might see hurricanes that come through the area. Living close to the coast, that is just one of the byproducts. I kind of liken it to living in the Northeast and having to deal with snowstorms. You're going to see hurricanes come through, you're going to see extreme weather come through the area. It's a matter of, does it come this year once, twice, 3 times, or do we get lucky and we have a year when there hasn't been any? We've actually gone the past few years without really any major storms that have come through the Horry County area. But I can say this, in the past we have seen some rather extreme storms come through. I believe probably the last big storm that we saw was Hurricane Florence that came through. It was supposed to be a Category 4, maybe a Category 5 hurricane that was headed towards the northern end of North Myrtle Beach up into Wilmington area. We didn't really see a lot of damage from the actual storm with wind and rain during that time, but what we did experience here was flooding, and there were parts of the northern end of the beach that did experience flooding. So that's why when you're thinking about moving to the northern end of the beach, just like most other parts of Horry County, it's super important to reach out to a realtor and let them help you along the way so that you're not buying a property that looks gorgeous and beautiful, but the reason it looks gorgeous and beautiful and brand new is because it was all rebuilt for having 6 feet of water in it. If you need help buying, my information's down below. Just give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever, and I'll help you whatever I can with it. I have been selling real estate here for over 20 years now, so I'd love to help you do that. But when it comes to moving to the area, you definitely want to take that into account, that you might have to deal with extreme weather. Now, the homes here, they're built to withstand it. D.R. Horton, who's one of the nation's largest builders, they build homes now, and when they do, they're putting in steel rods and cables that are epoxied into the foundation, run up to the top plate, and then it is bolted and pulled down, compressed down to 1500 psi. So it's basically making the house super sturdy and durable, that if a hurricane or a tornado comes through the area, it's not going to knock your home over. The windows, they're rated to 150-mile-an-hour winds. So your homes are built to withstand all types of extreme weather that might come through our area. So overall, I'll be honest, it's not really that big of a deal being here during hurricanes. But even if you are concerned with that, what you do is you have plenty of time to prepare. And as I always tell people, in Ed we trust. You follow Ed Piotrowski, our local meteorologist here. He'll keep you straight and tell you like it is with these storms. And if it's something that concerns you, you simply pack up, go visit friends, go visit neighbors, relatives, whatever, in another part of the country for a couple of days, and then come back and you don't have to be through it at all. So overall, extreme weather can be a problem, but it's really not super huge deals to worry about. The second con that I want to talk about is the traffic that's in the area. And I have to be honest, it can almost become a complete nightmare during parts of the year. And as you start to get to the outskirts of Horry County, out from the central section, it becomes exponentially worse. And the reason that that takes place is that the roads that you have to get around start to shrink and go down, and there's not as many to use anymore. In the center section of Horry County, we have Highway 31, we have 17 bypass, we have 17 business, and we have Ocean Boulevard to use that run north to south to get up and down the coast. But as you start to head up to the northern end of the beach, those roads start to go away. So in Myrtle Beach itself, you lose already 17 business and bypass. Also, Ocean Boulevard basically merges in there too. So basically then you have 31 and 17 that run parallel the rest of the way, all the way up to Little River. And as you start to get into Little River then, those two merge in as well. So if you're living up on the northern end in Little River segment, it's going to be a complete and total bottleneck all the time, because you basically have one road going north and south from there on. So you have 17 and that's your only option. Well, if there becomes a wreck on 17, you're stuck. There's no way to get around it. There's no alternate route to take to really kind of bypass and get around the traffic. And that's why it becomes such a nightmare. Also, when it's raining in the tourist season time, those roads become flooded with people because everybody leaves the beach. They can't go down and sit on the sand anymore. So what are we going to do? Well, let's go to eat. Let's go shopping. Let's go do these other things that are great and fun to do, but everyone gets on the road at the same time, and it basically becomes just one giant parking lot. So if you don't mind having to plan a little bit of extra time to get on your trip to where you want to go, consider North Myrtle Beach. So the third con on our list is tourist season. As I mentioned in number 2, there's not a lot of roads to get around the area, and when traffic comes in town for tourist season, it becomes a nightmare. Well, the other part is this: because there's only 1 or 2 roads to get around, tourist season is definitely felt much more in the northern end of the beach. That means when it's high times of the year, like 4th of July weekend, Labor Day, Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, all the big holidays, when people come into our town, you're definitely going to know it. You're also going to see when you go out to those restaurants to eat, when you go to places to do things, that wait times are going to become much longer. You could go to a restaurant and have to sit an hour, hour and a half easily just to get a table to eat, because there's not as many options on the northern end as there are down on the southern end. So tourism definitely plays a role. There's also all types of tourism type businesses that are all throughout North Myrtle Beach. The beach shops are all over the place. You can find your $1.99 seashells and your towels and all that kind of stuff, because beach shops seem to be on about every other corner when you get up through there. There's also all types of other tourism things like miniature golf courses and just you name it. Barefoot Landing has all types of tourism things. You've got the alligator adventure. There's all types of just tourism things that you're going to be dealing with each and every day. If you buy a home in Barefoot, you're also going to have House of Blues right there, which is going to be having concerts. So you might be hearing concerts at nighttime. All types of different stuff that you're going to deal with each and every day. Now, if you go on the west side of the waterway up there, like you do down in the southern end of the beach, you can get a little bit farther away from it. But there's going to be a much harder time getting to your home than when you live down in the central end, because there's just not as many options to go over the waterway to those sections of the beach. There's also the sports complexes up there, which has all types of tourism things that are happening. They have baseball tournaments. At Christmas time, oh my goodness, they have one of the largest Christmas light displays in the area, and it's awesome to see. It's great to go through. But at the same time, you could wait 60 to 90 minutes just to get in the gate, because traffic gets that backed up of people pulling through to check out the Christmas lights. So tourism is definitely a con when it comes to the northern end of the beach. The fourth con on the list is the pay scale and pay rates that you're paid for jobs here in the Horry County area. And this is true of no matter whether you live in the northern end of the beach or Myrtle or down on the southern end. Overall, pay rates are significantly less here than other parts of the country. For example, if you're a teacher, your pay down here is going to be significantly less than if you were a teacher up in New York, New Jersey, or California. The same is true for those that are in the medical field or the emergency fields or service fields. Your rates of what you get paid are usually going to be much less. Now, if you're a server, you can make great pay down here in North Myrtle Beach, because during the season, you're going to have tables just one right after another all night long, from the minute you walk in the door to the minute you close. So you can make great money that way, but other type of professional industries, your pay rates are going to be less. Now, you don't want to get too focused in on, oh my goodness, I'm taking this huge pay cut to move to the beach, because you have to factor in the things like, hey, I'm going to be living at the beach and I'm going to have much better weather, and even more so, my cost of living is going to be significantly less. So while pay is less, so is also cost. And when you take those things together and they both come down, you're still living the same lifestyle you currently have. And the fifth con that I want to talk about today is the property costs. I did a little bit of research today and looked just to see, and I thought that this was the case, but I wanted to make sure and verify it. So I went to our local MLS stats, and I'm going to put a graphic here on the screen in a moment that'll show the differences between Myrtle Beach cost average and North Myrtle Beach cost average. And for the exact same property, it doesn't matter whether it's a D.R. Horton 4-bedroom home in North Myrtle Beach or a D.R. Horton 4-bedroom home in Myrtle Beach, the costs are going to be significantly higher. But also, the average cost for homes on North Myrtle Beach versus Myrtle Beach are significantly higher. As you can see here on the screen, the average cost for a home right now in the Myrtle Beach area is $329,000. If we go up to North Myrtle Beach and we look at that same number, the average cost for a home there is $360,000. That's almost $30,000 more for basically the same type of property, just moving from Myrtle Beach up to the northern end. So if you're someone who's looking at your budget and says, hey, you know what, I want to make sure that I stay within a certain price point, North Myrtle Beach might not work for you. You might have to come down to the southern end of the beach. You might have to go west out over on the other side of the waterway towards Longs or Loris or those areas. As you start to go farther out from the beach, those property values are going to go down significantly. So the same home that might be $360,000 in North Myrtle Beach might be $340,000 in Longs and $330,000 in Loris. So once again, it's just like any other part of the beach, and I've said this many times before, the closer we get to that big blue ocean, the higher the price of the value homes are going to become. So you want to make sure that you take that into consideration, and if budget's really a big thing to you, keep that in mind as you look at properties. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video on pros and cons of living in the North Myrtle Beach area. If you did, as always, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up, get that bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.